AITA for not attending my sister's wedding after being excluded. My name is David, and 2 weeks ago I discovered that my younger sister Chloe erased me from her life as if I never existed. She did it in the most elegant and cruel way possible, a wedding without an invitation. Yes, my own sister, my little girl, the one I cared for, defended, protected, the one for whom I sacrificed friendships, relationships, vacations, even dreams. The same one who cried on my shoulder when mom yelled at her, the one who called me at midnight when her first boyfriend dumped her, the one who lived in my apartment for 2 years while she studied and couldn't even pay the electricity bill, the one I gave her first laptop to and paid for her master's degree. Chloe, my own flesh and blood. And yet, when she announced her wedding in Napa Valley, I didn't receive a single word. Not a text, not an email, nothing. And the first part of that phrase, the phrase that still burns in my chest, we've only invited the people who are truly important to us. She said it on Instagram in a story, with that sweet little tone she always used to manipulate everyone, with her fake smile, with her white rehearsal dress, with the romantic music in the background. And yes, I saw the names, all the distant cousins, her friends from school, her former English teacher, even a great aunt who lives in Florida, everyone except me. When I asked Mom, because of course I did, still with a lump in my throat and trembling hands, she only answered this with that air of cold superiority that characterizes her. "Oh, David, don't make it a bigger deal than it is. It's just a wedding. Just a wedding." As if I didn't know what that meant. As if it didn't hurt that after everything, after years of being her shield, her shoulder, her personal ATM, I wasn't even worthy of being among the important ones. That was the moment. Not when I read the guest list. Not when my aunt texted me to ask, "Why aren't you going?" Not when my father, as always, washed his hands of the situation. No, it was when my mother, the same one who demanded that I sacrifice myself for the good of the family, looked me in the eyes and told me it was just a wedding. That's when something broke. Something inside, something I no longer intend to rebuild. That night, while the family group chat was exploding with memes about the wedding preparations, I did something I never thought I'd do. I booked a trip to Hawaii, first class, boutique hotel with a spa, ocean view, just for me. And before closing my suitcase, I uploaded a story, a glass of champagne, sunset, feet in the pool. Sometimes family isn't where you were born, but where you finally feel at peace. 20 minutes later, I had 8 missed calls, and that was just the beginning. Hawaii welcomed me with sun and silence. A different kind of silence. Not the silence of family indifference, not the silence of those dinners where everyone talked over me, as if I wasn't there. It was the silence of peace. The first few days, I did nothing but walk on the sand, swim, drink white wine, and watch the sea until it swallowed the sun. I turned off notifications. I forgot about the family WhatsApp group titled Chloe's Wedding. But the past has long arms, and family even longer ones. Day 3, I decided to check my phone. 48 men messages, 11 missed calls, a new post from my sister with a caption, counting down the days with the people who really matter. And there they all were, cousins, distant uncles, even some of her teachers from school. Who wasn't there? Me, the one who practically raised her alone when our parents were working, the one who paid for her master's degree, the one who put up with her breakups, her dramas, her silences. That same day, my mother sent me a message, "Honey, don't take it like that. It's just a wedding. Don't make a fuss. Just a wedding." As if it didn't hurt, as if I didn't know that what Chloe really meant was, "You're no longer part of my circle. You don't give me prestige. You're no use to me." And that's when I uploaded the first photo, me in the hotel's infinity pool with a glass of champagne, and the caption, "Sometimes walking away is the only way to breathe again. Hashtag new life, hashtag no filter." Day 5, my Aunt Agnes, the only one who always had some human warmth, called me. "David, my dear, what's going on? Your mother says you're making a spectacle on social media. Chloe is upset." Upset. Why? For showing that I'm okay? For not crying like they expect? Aunt Agnes sighed. "I'm just saying, try not to add fuel to the fire. Your sister is nervous. It's her moment." "Yes," I replied, her moment to erase those who don't suit her. Day 6, my father, that man who was always my mother's shadow, called. His tone was the same as always, diplomatic, neutral, cowardly. David, don't pay attention. These things get complicated. You know how women are with weddings. And why am I the only one who isn't there? I asked. Why were even the neighbors invited? Because Chloe decided that way. You're an adult now, son. Not everything revolves around you. Of course, but when there's something to pay for, when there's a problem, then everything does revolve around me. And then came the final blow, a message from my mother. David, can you co-sign for Chloe's new condo? We need your paperwork for the bank. We already talked about this. Had they talked to me? No. They had already decided for me, as always, as if my salary were part of the family budget, as if my bank account were a shared inheritance. And there, with the sun setting over Hawaii and a glass of wine in my hand, I knew that never again. I recorded a voice note to the family group chat. My voice was calm but firm. I'm not signing anything. I'm not justifying anything. I'm not anyone's bank or emotional life raft. If all of this is normal to you, I wish you luck, but not with me anymore. Silence. Then, little by little, the messages started coming in. First Chloe, then Mom, then even Chloe's fiancé Chad. All with the same tone, confusion, surprise, guilt disguised as concern. But I was already far away, further than ever, and for the first time, I felt close to myself. Okay, the wedding day arrived. Saturday. Me in Hawaii, having a quiet breakfast facing the sea, coffee, toast, and zero stress. Meanwhile, back in Napa Valley, everyone was in event of the century mode. I'm not going to lie. I was curious. I opened Instagram. The usual, Chloe uploading 1,000 stories, white dress, the bouquet, the makeup, the entrance with dad as if they were besties, the friends shouting, the most beautiful bride, and the typical background song like Beyoncé or something. All very beautiful, very perfect. Or so it seemed. Around noon, my phone started vibrating nonstop. First, a message from my cousin Jake. Dude, did you know about this? He sent a link to a Twitter thread. I clicked. A video recorded from one of the back pews of the church. Chloe at the altar, holding the groom's arm, the background music, everyone clapping. And suddenly, Chad stops, literally freezes, as if something had crossed his mind. She whispers something to him. You can't hear it well. He answers her, without looking at her, and without saying another word, turns around and leaves. Just like that. In front of everyone. A woman screams, another starts crying. The groom's mother stands up, as if she'd been punched in the chest. Chloe is left stiff, with wide eyes. The priest doesn't know what to do. A security guard tries to stop the groom. He pushes him away and walks out the main door. The camera moves, falls to the floor, people running behind, voices, screams, chaos. I watched the video 3 times. I couldn't believe it. I thought this was a joke, a setup. But no, it was uploaded by 3 different accounts for different angles. Confirmed, the wedding went down the drain right at the altar, with 150 people watching. And, of course, what followed was predictable. Message from my Aunt Carol. David, please answer. Chloe is not well. We need you to come. Excuse me? Now I'm part of the family? Now I'm useful? After they didn't even invite me to the wedding? After Chloe publicly said that only important people would go? I left the message on read. Then my mother. Please, David, this has been a disaster. You don't know everything that's happened. Your sister needs you. I didn't reply either. A while later, I get a voice note. It was the voice of Steve, my cousin's husband. You don't know the mess. The groom found out about some messages from Chloe with an ex totally crazy. They were recent, like 2 months ago. Someone showed them to him right before the ceremony. It wasn't a coincidence. He had them printed, paper in hand. He threw them in her face in the dressing room. He said something like, "This is what awaits me, and I'm marrying you." And he left. Boom. And that's when I remembered that time Chloe called me crying at 2 a.m. because her ex left her for someone else. I went to pick her up in the car without saying anything. I just drove. I spent an hour listening to her say that nobody understood her. I made her soup, let her sleep in my bed. I slept on the sofa, and 2 days later, she got back together with that same guy and never thanked me. So no, it didn't surprise me that she was still texting him, nor did it surprise me that someone found out and threw it in her face on her wedding day. Honestly, I didn't feel sorry for her. I was angry because I know that if things had gone well, they wouldn't even have remembered me. I spent the afternoon at the spa, an SAA session, total relaxation. I uploaded a photo of me with a smoothie glass in hand, turquoise background, hashtag less drama more massages, hashtag self-care, hashtag note available. Total silence. I turned off my phone. No vibration. Nothing. No more, David, fix it. No more, David, help us. No more being the free emotional support for a family that only sees me when it's convenient for them. And while all that was burning back in Napa Valley, I slept like a log for the first time in years. I returned to Seattle a week after the wedding, not out of nostalgia, not for family. I had to close things up, empty the apartment, do paperwork, the bare minimum. I didn't answer any messages. I didn't open any of the 80 WhatsApp messages I had pending. I saw some from the lock screen. Chloe is devastated. Mom won't stop crying. Don't be cruel. Me? Cruel? After they erased me from the wedding as if I didn't exist, after years of putting up with everything and swallowing every humiliation in silence, now I'm the cruel one? Well, yes. If that's being cruel, then call me cruel. I went to the bank, removed my parents as beneficiaries of my accounts, changed my will, and canceled that joint account that my mother used for family things and that magically was always to pay for something for Chloe. That same day, I get a message from her. David, is the grocery store account not working? Has something happened to the account? I replied, account closed. Nothing more. I didn't feel like giving explanations. And then came the part that always happens when you start setting boundaries. Someone shows up in person. My mother came unannounced, doorbell at 8 a.m. I'm still in my robe with coffee in hand. I open the door, and there she is with that face she makes when she wants you to feel sorry for her. David, are you really going to do this? We're your family. I didn't answer immediately. I just stared at her. It was hard not to laugh at the theatrics. Just a few months ago, she made me feel terrible for saying I was exhausted from work one night. I remember I went to my parents' house for dinner. I was wiped out. I literally had a headache from stress. I told them that maybe I needed to get away for a while, that I felt like nobody was listening to me. You know what she did? She looked at me, laughed, and said, "Oh, David, don't start with your drama. Always so exaggerated." That phrase killed me. I kept it to myself, as always. I smiled, again, as always. But that day, I knew that in that house, I couldn't show myself to be human. I had to be useful, strong, available. Back at the door now. I'm family. After I wasn't important enough to be at the wedding, she was silent. Chloe is very unwell, David. She's in bed. She won't talk to anyone. And that's not my problem. It hurt to say it. I'm not going to lie. But it was necessary. Your father is very worried. And where was he when you decided I wasn't even worth a chair in the church? Nothing. Silence. I'm tired, I said. Tired of always being available for you, of paying, of putting up with things, of saving the day. But we're family? No. You're my family now. You're people with the same last name as me. Nothing more. I closed the door. Not dramatically, I just closed it. 2 weeks later, I left Seattle. I moved to Portland. New apartment. Small, but quiet. Remote work. Simple routine. Nobody bothering me. I didn't tell anyone. There was no farewell dinner, no final talk. I just left, like they did with me at their precious wedding. And since then, I sleep better. I'm not woken up on my phone with David. Can you do me a favor? I don't have to explain what I spend my money on. I don't have to pretend I'm okay so they don't call me dramatic. Now, I live peacefully, without guilt, without remorse, without them. 6 months passed. 6 months without emergency calls. 6 months without, David, can you? 6 months without having to swallow everything. And for the first time in my life, peace. I'm not saying it was easy at first. The first few days in Portland were strange. I'd wake up expecting someone to need me, like a reflex. But then the silence started to feel good. I would get up, make coffee, work peacefully. I wasn't solving their problems. Nobody telling me that I'm exaggerating. I was living for myself, and I had never done that before. 3 weeks later, the first attempt at reconnection came. A message from Chloe. Hi. I know I have no right, but I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I read it, left it there. 2 hours later, another one. I made a lot of mistakes. I needed you that day, and I needed you afterward. But you were cruel too. And there I laughed. Me? Cruel? After you erased me? After years of using me for everything you needed and then ignoring me at the most important moment of your life? I didn't even reply, and it wasn't out of pride. It was out of dignity. Then came Mom. She wrote me an email. Son, we all make mistakes. The important thing is to forgive. Family is all we have. No, what we have are decisions, and I made mine. A month later, I ran into them by chance. I was in Portland at a patio, having a drink with a friend. Mom, Dad, and Chloe were there for the weekend to disconnect. They saw me. Chloe looked down. Dad waved awkwardly. Mom came to the table. David, aren't you going to say hello? I'm busy. Aren't you even going to talk to your sister? She talked to me before she erased me. Silence. What do you want me to say? Mom? That I'm glad to see you? I just want us to be a family again. And there I let it out. I already have a family. The people who respect me. The ones who don't use me. You had your chance. You lost it. She froze. I turned around, continued with my coffee. Now, consequences, because yes, everything is consequences. Chloe still lives with a friend in a rented apartment. The loan for the new condo fell through because I didn't co-sign. She's working a temporary job, and, according to what I've been told, she's taking medication for anxiety. I feel sorry for her a little, but that also doesn't give me back the years I spent being her emotional and financial backup. My mother is now saying that David is going through a phase. According to my aunt, she plays the victim in front of everyone. She sold her car, canceled her gym membership, and no longer goes to her usual hair salon. The joint account no longer exists. The tap has been turned off. My father still doesn't say anything. He never called. He never wrote. I saw him in Portland that day, and he said hello as if I were the building's doorman. I don't expect anything more from him. He was never really there. The extended family, total silence. 2 cousins wrote to me privately. I understand you, but I don't want problems with Aunt. The usual. Many understand you in secret, but you say it out loud, and I'm fine. I'm at peace. I have a small studio in Portland. I work remotely. I have clients who respect me. I go running in the mornings. I read. I write. I laugh more. Nobody asks me for explanations. Nobody demands that I give more than I have. Nobody makes me feel like I have to earn their affection. Today is exactly 6 months since the wedding, and I haven't seen them again, nor do I miss them. Sometimes people ask me if I feel bad about breaking up with my family, and the truth is, I feel free. I finally feel like myself. They called me selfish, but they didn't know what someone who finally starts living for themselves looks like. Thank you for reading, and if you're reading this wondering if you should cut ties with what's tearing you apart, do it. Don't hesitate, because peace is priceless, and living for others isn't living either. David, final update. Responding to your comments. Wow, I really didn't expect this. I posted my story to vent, to get something out that I'd been swallowing for years. I thought some people would relate. I thought others would criticize me harshly. That happened too, but I didn't imagine so many people would write saying, the same thing happened to me. It's like you're telling my life. Thank you for putting it into words, and I'm the one who has to say thank you. I read every comment, and some made me cry. Yes, believe it or not, I cried too. Others made me angry, I admit it, and many made me remember things that I had well hidden, well covered up with that typical phrase, it's not a big deal. But it was. It was. And that's why I'm writing this last update, because I want to respond to some messages that were repeated a lot. But it's your family. Someday you're going to regret it. I've heard that since I can remember, as if the fact of sharing blood were an excuse to put up with everything, as if the word mom or sister automatically gave you a free pass to hurt. No, I don't regret it. And you know what? If I ever do, it will be for not having set boundaries sooner, for having let myself be used for so long, for having wanted to fit in where they had already left me out years ago. You also sound resentful. Couldn't you have talked about it before disappearing? I talked. I swear I talked. Once with a trembling voice, I told my mother, sometimes I feel like nobody sees me. You know what she said to me? Oh, David, always with your things. Why do you have to ruin everything with your emotions? In my family, talking about how you feel is playing the victim. Setting boundaries is being ungrateful, and getting tired is being selfish. It wasn't resentment. It was self-defense. And yes, when someone who always says yes one day says no, the rest see it as an attack. But isn't. It's emotional survival. Did it hurt to walk away? Very much. I don't show it that much, but it did hurt. It hurt to delete my sister from my speed dial. It hurt to block my mother. It hurt not to answer my Aunt Agnes's voice message. But it hurt more to stay there, waiting for them to see me someday, to thank me, to value me, and that never came. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, days when I felt empty, moments when I asked myself, what if I'm the one who's wrong? But no, I wasn't. I was just tired of giving, of being there, of supporting, and of not receiving even the bare minimum. Would you talk to them again? Not today, and not out of pride, but because going back would be like going back into a burning house, hoping this time I won't get burned. If someday they change, if they really do, not with fake tears or emails full of guilt, then maybe, but only if I can go back as a person, not as emotional support, not as a bank, not as the one who always takes the hits. I want to thank everyone who commented with empathy, those who shared very difficult stories that left me with a lump in my throat, those who told me, I believe you, even though it hurts. And also, thanks to those who criticized. Not everyone did it with bad intentions. Some made me see things from another angle. But if you, the one reading this, feel invisible in your own family, if you feel like you're giving and nobody sees you, if you think that talking is making drama, that crying is bothering, and that setting boundaries is being selfish, you're not crazy. You're not the problem, and you're not alone. It's not selfishness, it's self-esteem. And yes, it hurts at first, but then you breathe and you realize that the air, without guilt, without manipulation, without having to ask permission to